Ara namlu.
Fejn? Aħna x'aħna nagħmlu hawn, ha?
Ha, dawn sharks.
Today we welcome our very special guest all the way from Malta, Rebecca Cremona. Rebecca has written and directed the first international feature film, Simshar. She is in Australia promoting her movie and we are very privileged that she could be with us and spend some time talking about the movie. So this is your first international feature film. How do you feel being a woman in a male-dominated industry?
You know, it's interesting because it's true, it's a very male-dominated industry and the statistics are really shocking when you see how, I think it's like less than 2% of directors of distributed films are women. So when you look at the statistics, it's very shocking. But I must say that I've never really encountered any discrimination on the job at all. I mean, maybe I'm very lucky, but I can't say that I've personally encountered that.
Since Malta has limited resources for filmmakers, what were the obstacles you had to overcome?
How long do you have? Lots and lots and lots of obstacles. However, having said that, there are pros and cons about being doing things for the first time or working in an environment that doesn't have an established infrastructure, because you can actually, first of all, people are very eager to get things underway. There are a lot of new initiatives, like for example the Malta Film Fund and the Export Fund, one from the Film Commission and the other one from the Malta Arts Council. So we're really starting to build up, you know, this infrastructure, and there's a lot of will to do it. And because there isn't an infrastructure in place, but we're literally growing together, we can feed off each other and grow together. So there definitely are pros. And I think that the more we go along, hopefully, the better and the easier it will become.
So is moose, alright? Like moose.
In what way does your film portray the migration policy in Malta?
Well, you know, the film is not really about policy or about politics. It's really about people. And we really wanted, and this is something that I really believe, when you listen to the news and the migration issue and the statistics, it's all about numbers. It's not about people. You know, so for me it was very important to always have people, you know, and coming to the story from a humane point of view.
Uy, naraw niya sa lewel? 1, 2. Isma. Ara, emmek fejjina u l-papant għajna l-ewel darba.
Dak bewsa. Ja!
Ara, xatlek fuq dik il-kelma. Xana millek, ja.
You've experienced the opening of Simshar in some Australian cities. What has been the response towards the film? Been taking that this country was built by migrants?
Yes, well, so definitely when I was doing my research, you know, to start working on the movie, there were a lot of incidents in Australia which came up. So there was, for example, the Tampa incident, which is very well known, which has resonances with the Leka incident, which is in the film. So that was very, you know, interesting to me. Also, Australia is a much bigger island than Malta, but it is an island, and it is an island with a base, a population base that's very mixed, like Malta as well. And also there are a lot of Maltese over here. So, and what's very interesting for me as a filmmaker is that there's such a strong art house, cinema-going heritage, you know, over here. There really is. You don't go to every country and find all these beautiful cinemas and an audience that, you know, really is thirsting for cinema like this. It's becoming rarer and rarer, you know, with VOD becoming more popular. So many reasons why Australia is particularly special for us and why we're so happy to have this release here.
Ix-ġara issa?
Għajdlu.
Mux torti għaj li Father Matthew ma jogħġbux il-futbol.
Għajdlu.
Imma għajd li l-verità, okej? Skorjajt.
Maltese Australians are concerned about the migrant situation in Malta. In what way can this film speak to the Maltese community here?
Well, the film is a very Maltese film in the sense that it's based on a story which was, very prominent in Malta. It is filmed in 21 different parts of the island. It's in the Maltese, predominantly in the Maltese language. It encompasses a lot of our traditions and showcases them. So from that point of view, it also, shows a socio-political reality which is very real in Malta, which is for the past 12 years or so, we have really been in the center due to our geographical position of this crossing from Africa to Europe. So that's something that's very real about our contemporary society. And it's becoming more and more of a global issue. There was a time when Australia was in the headlines for migration and where the Mediterranean was in the headline for migration. But now it's just becoming more and more global. And, in America you have Mexican migration, and with the Syrian conflict it's just exploded. But that's everywhere, even in Malta, you will have people who, depending on what they read, what they watch, who they're exposed to, who they interact with, it's really different. The level of information and the awareness that people have, it's really, it varies a lot. I do think that film, though, this is one of the reasons why I personally gravitate so much towards film, is that film is great for entertainment, but it's also great to learn about things. It's great to be exposed to cultures you wouldn't otherwise be exposed to, get to know characters you wouldn't, have experience of. So it is a portal. Film is a portal to everything from, stories to issues to people and cultures.
Go! Yes!
Għal-bicċa bibda kollu jħasrejja.
Għalli fidi.
Tana ħenna li l-int. Dan bis joqsod għat-tifel, kemm darba ngħidlek jien, eh?
Teo! Kombinazzjoni konna serin nilabu ximkien ieħor veru. Ejja, ħammorru, ejja.
Morru mela. Post il-balluna.
Do you have further projects planned?
Yes, quite a few, but I think it will be a while. I have to learn how to think a bit smaller. It's also ambitious, like a Simshar scale. But hopefully the next one will be easier to make. Also, because now I have more experience, I know more people. The infrastructure is always improving. So hopefully, before too long, we will be able to explore that further.
What inspired you to become a filmmaker?
Well, I always really liked film, because I like taking photos, I like drawing, I love reading books, I like listening to music, and I like philosophy, I like culture, I like history. So film encompasses all these art forms and the things that I really love. So for me, when someone asks me, well, if you didn't do film, what would you do? I really don't know, because I never thought about it.
Now, Rebecca, when you were little, who inspired you to get into films? Who was your inspiration in directing?
Many different filmmakers, but if I had to name one in particular, I would say Alfonso Cuarón, who's probably now best known for Gravity. However, he's a filmmaker of Mexican origin who now works a lot in Hollywood. But what I like so much about him is that very often he tells local stories that also have universal relevance. And I love that sort of film. And I hope that's what I try to do with Simshar, to tell a very local story that has a universal relevance. And I like many different types of films, but those are the films that I gravitate towards.
Sirna jgħid daqs mara.
Isma, nejnu kridu biss.